Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 521. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Well, hello.
Yeah, this week on the show, we're going to be taking a look at Rumours, which is out now on VOD platforms. We're also going over some we're watching on the watch list and new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Let's go ahead and hop straight into our review. We're talking about Rumours. This is directed by Evan Johnson, Galen Johnson, and Guy Madden. Name we haven't talked about on this show for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Got a synopsis here. The leaders of 7 wealthy democracies get lost in the middle of the woods while drafting a statement on a global crisis, facing danger as they attempt to find their way out. I don't think they get lost. I mean, I think they actually know where they're going.
Yeah.
So that synopsis is a little misleading. They know exactly where they're going.
And I like how it's when they're en route. They weren't en route to anywhere. They were just there.
They were there. They were already there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Kevin, what were your initial impressions of Rumours?
It's a weird enough movie, I guess, in some senses, but I gotta say that I found the whole endeavor to be a little bit one note, kind of reiterating the same things over and over again, and enough like here and there, like little things sprinkled in that like would pique my interest. You know, the odd stuff, the little oddities here and there, but just the oddities themselves, there's really nothing to them outside of just. They feel like they're sprinkled in there just to like keep your attention, but then nothing really comes out of it.
Yeah, completely agree with you. I overall thought it was entertaining enough. Like I thought that it was funny enough to keep my attention, and the kind of bits of absurdity that occurred were fine. But I do think that it wasn't quite enough. Like if you're going to go there, if you're going to go the crazy over the top route, like go for it. You know, like I felt like I wanted more of the bog people. Really, I just wanted more bog people.
Yeah, which I just love that we didn't bring. There's no context to that. You're just bog people.
Yep, we're just there's just bog people in this movie. It's very bog people centric.
Not eccentric enough for the bog people, I gotta say. Like you said, I wanted more bog people, and we get glimpses here and there, but there's not enough for them to be included. You know, I just feel like there's not enough of them. Like they kind of felt pointless at the end, where you're just like, okay, I guess that was just a little absurdist treat to throw in there. Because thankfully they are there, because if not, this would be even more tedious than it is.
Yeah. A lot of times this movie felt like what was his name? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Armando Iannucci. That's who I'm thinking of. It felt like somewhat of an Armando Iannucci film. Like like Death of Stalin style, or In the Loop, or The Thick of It, Veep, that style. But much drier and more understated than something that Iannucci would do. And I kept thinking to myself how much better I would probably like this movie if it was Iannucci who directed it. Because I like the absurdist stuff, but again, just to go back on what we already said, it wasn't quite enough to really elevate the movie very much for me.
Because it's small. Well, when you gather it all together and pull it into one place, it's a very small amount. I mean, the vast majority of this movie is just some, I'll give them credit, some really good actors just doing kind of the same thing over and over again, which is them playing political world leaders that aren't really capable of doing anything.
Incompetent political world leaders that, like you said, it is pretty one note.
You're just like, okay, they can't write a statement. And it is funny that Charles Dance, who plays the U.S.
The
president,
American, yeah.
yeah, like he even says, he's like, no one cares about these. Like it doesn't
And
matter.
most of the time he was just sleeping.
Yeah,
That's the thing though. Like I thought that there were a number of really funny moments in this. Like there were actually a few moments that I laughed out loud, which for some reason these days I just don't do a lot in movies because I feel like movies aren't funny anymore for some reason. And there were a number of moments in this that did make me laugh out loud. I thought that
yeah.
were
I
very
gotta
funny.
say, I think my favorite is the Canadian Prime Minister just screaming that he loves strong women and then just runs off into the woods.
I loved the scene when when he was like giving that like rousing speech and then he threw the stick at the bald person. I thought that was so funny. I think I don't know, maybe my favorite was Antonio though, because
Yeah,
he
Antonio,
was such a lovable buffoon
he's just a
that
simple man.
he had his meats, sharing his meats.
Yeah, he forgot his phone. Still doesn't have his phone,
Yeah.
and he dressed up as Mussolini one time.
Yeah.
Which he thinks is a funny costume. It's a funny costume.
Yeah, there were a lot of like kind of funny one-liners and stuff in this too. Like when Maxim when he first found what's her name, Celestine, and was like, "What happened to you? And why is that large brain with you?" When we were first introduced to the large brain, and then how
So,
she says the brain is a game changer.
oh yeah,
Uh,
100%.
there are lots of funny stuff in this. It just, yeah, like it was. I was actually not expecting to like this, honestly, because
Yeah,
I'm not really a big fan of Guy Madden, and I kind of had expectations going into this of what it would be. And I gotta say, like, I liked it more than I thought I would. I really
yeah,
thought that I was gonna dislike it. I thought it was gonna be much more kind of disjointed than it was, and I thought it was gonna just be almost too out there for me. And when things take a really, really, really surreal turn, I find that to be somewhat grating. I'm thinking of like, well, Keyhole, really, like
yeah,
his other film, like which I couldn't stand. Like I had to force myself through that movie. But yeah, this one is much more accessible and kind of straightforward. But again, like it's almost like he swung too far the other way with this one.
yeah. And it just also feels like when it gets to some of the surrealist, absurdist stuff, it almost feels like like the like the directors like they're in their minds they're trying to be accessible, so it feels like they're kind of holding back a little bit. And then it
Mm-hmm.
kind of just, for me, at the end of it, it's just kind of like, well, why are these two things trying to mix together, anyways? The whole
Yeah,
bald people brain and then the G Summit. Like, this, I don't, it's a marriage that's not working.
yeah. I like maybe maybe there's some symbolism in there that I didn't pick up on, but yeah, for me it was just like again, it's a relatively light movie. Like it's good performances. I mean, Kate Blanchett is in here, and she's fantastic as always. Everybody's good, but it's just, it's a whatever movie. It's like a light comedy to me.
Which I think is kind of damning, right? To be like,
Yeah,
it's kind of a movie that's G7 world leaders, bald people, a giant brain. Oh yeah, by the way, the bald people explode when they masturbate, which is like the main thing that they do. And then just with all of those elements to be like, yeah, it's a whatever movie. Like that's not good.
yeah, yep, yeah. That's pretty much it. Anything else you wanted to add?
Oh, it just again, it's surprisingly. I feel like surprisingly, this is going to be a somewhat unmemorable
Yeah,
movie.
which is very strange, very very odd. All right, let's go ahead and give it a score. For me, I think that this I still found it to be entertaining. And like I said, I liked the performances and I thought that some of it was quite funny. So for me, I'm like at a 6 on this one.
I mean, I think like a 5, like straight down the middle.
Mm-hmm. All right. Again, that's Rumors. You can check that out on VOD platforms. I am curious to see The Green Fog, which was also directed by these three guys. And it's like a interpretation of Vertigo,
Mm.
the one where it was pieced together using footage from old films and television shows. Kind of interested in that.
Yeah, the one that he did with Evan Johnson, The Forbidden Room, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I ended up watching that because I could just tell that that was going to be one that like it visually, it looked really cool, but like I didn't think that I was going to be into the
Yeah, you got to be in the right
story,
mood, or you're
Yeah.
just going to find it insufferable.
Yeah, see, I kind of thought that was how I was going to go with it, but cool. All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. I think it's my turn this week. Let's see. I will start off with Saturday Night. This is Jason Reitman's SNL biopic that takes place an hour and a half before the debut of Saturday Night on NBC. So it's just basically about the chaos that ensues before that very first episode in 1975. I love SNL. Well, let me just say, I used to love SNL. I love the SNL lore. I think that's probably more appropriate. Like, I like SNL history. I like learning about the craziness of Saturday Night Live. The show itself, not so much anymore. Not so much.
I can see that.
But especially love the history of SNL. Like, I just think it's really fascinating. This really doesn't. It's pretty middle of the road, actually. I think that the casting is great. Like all the people that they get to play, their respective counterparts. Like the guy that they get to play, Lorne Michaels and Chevy Chase, and all of the original cast. I think that the guy that they got to play, John Belushi, was fantastic. Everybody's great, performance wise. Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd was really interesting to me because I like that dude, and he did such a good Dan Aykroyd. I mean, it was just spot on. But anyway, that aside, it was just pretty average. Like it was kind of exactly what I thought it would be, where it was just like overly chaotic. Like there was just so much going on all the time, just complete chaos in the studio. I liked how it was shot. It was shot on film, and I don't. It was super. Like it might have been 16 millimeter. I don't even know, but it looked great. Looked very authentic. But aside from that, I don't really have much to say. It was mildly entertaining. Not really that great, honestly.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty much exactly what you would expect.
Pointless exercise.
Yeah, I mean I think it would be more like I think a documentary would probably be better. Like if they were going to do an SNL biopic, I think that this is an interesting way to do it, where it's the pilot and all that stuff. But whatever.
Hey, I have a good one for you. It's called The Appointment from 1982. This is on the Roku channel. This is Lindsay Vickers. This is a British horror movie of sorts. I gotta say, the beginning of this movie, the opening of this movie, is just absolutely nuts. It's just this like young girl like walking through this path through the forest with an unexpected ending to it, just to kind of like set the stage for the rest of the movie. And then it just completely changes into, there's this guy, he has this appointment that he has to go to the following day. He's getting a new car and everything. And the problem is he has to tell his daughter that the big day of her like recital, like concert thing, he's not going to be there. He's got this like work thing that he has to go to. He can't get out of it. He's got to go to it. So the bulk of the movie is that night like his daughter's kind of upset because he's not going to be there. Him and his wife are kind of like having a little spat about their daughter and everything. And it's just them trying to sleep through the night. And it's the three of them having kind of these like unsettling nightmares that keep them awake. It's a big time slow burn, right? It's just three of them having some nightmares, right? And guess what? Those nightmares are a little bit prophetic. So the third half, or the end of the movie, is him going to, he has to drive, I forget how many miles to get to this work thing that he has to go to. And it's just kind of like a replay of the nightmares from the night before, ending with maybe one of the best car crashes ever put on film. I just like The Appointment is like, it's perhaps one of the best movies I've ever seen in terms of like crafting this like unsettling atmosphere. This movie is very atmospheric, and my goodness, does it just excel at it. I can't recommend this enough.
Nice. That's The Appointment, available on the Roku channel.
Roku.
Yeah, I'm already adding this to my list.
Oh, you're gonna love this.
I saw Smile 2. This is directed by Parker Finn, same director as the first one. Now, I mentioned maybe last week or previous week that I did enjoy the first Smile. I think I talked about it on the show back when it first came out. Liked the first one. I actually rewatched the first one, and right before I watched Smile 2, just as a refresher, because I started to watch Smile 2, and it takes place, I think it was six days after the end of the first one. So it picks up almost immediately. And I kind of forgot how the original one ended. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just watch it. Smile 2 is great. It's better than the first. It's a little bit of a rehash. It kind of goes over a lot of the same beats as the first one, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, just because the kind of the shtick of the movie is like you can see all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's not like it's not too samey. The plot beats are somewhat the same, but the experience is different. This one is a lot gorier, very gory. And where it goes is a lot more kind of crazy and over the top. One of the things that I liked about the first Smile was the ending, and I think that it was a very un-Hollywood ending, and this one sort of follows suit with that, where it's not an ending that you would necessarily expect from, a studio film. So I appreciate that. Otherwise, great visuals, very creepy. Liked it a lot. Definitely recommend Smile 2 if you're looking for kind of a creepy, almost a body horror. Almost. Yeah. So definitely recommend Smile 2. You don't necessarily need to see the first one to go to enjoy this one. The beginning might be a little confusing since it does sort of immediately pick up where the first one left off. You'll certainly get more out of it if you see the original. But yeah.
I'll use that as my segue into my body horror, which is the Blob from 1988, Chuck Russell.
Hell yeah.
Blob remake. This is just, honestly, it comes down to the effects work in this. It's just incredible. Just so fucking good. Anytime the Blob gets somebody,
they're screwed.
Oh my god. And it's just inventive ways that the Blob gets people and absorbs people and kills people that I was just hooked from the beginning. Like, it's just a testament too of the skills from the people that did the effects work on this. Because the very first kill where they throw the blankets off the guy and like half of his body's disappearing, and it's just kind of this gloopy mess. You're just like locked in, just like I'm rooting for the Blob. No offense to anyone in this town, this small town of Arborville, California. No offense to you guys, but I'm rooting for the Blob because I want to see how things shake out. That's what I'm here for. And then, of course, Kevin Dillon has an incredible mullet. Maybe top 5 mullets all time.
I love this movie. This movie is great.
It's incredible. Incredible.
Chuck Russell, very interesting director. He did The Mask, Nightmare
Yes.
on Elm Street 3,
Scorpion
Blob,
King.
The Scorpion King, which is like, has like notably some of the worst CG.
Yeah.
And then like Eraser and Bless the Child. He has a new one coming out called Witchboard. But yeah, very interesting. But I love the Blob. I saw Copycat from 1995. I got in this like weird this weekend. I got into this weird kind of like crime thriller mood. So I've been kind of going through crime thrillers that I haven't seen before. Copycat was the first one. This is directed by John Amiel, and it stars Sigourney Weaver and Holly Hunter and Dermot Mulroney. And it's about a serial killer who is copying the most notorious serial killers in history.
Yeah.
So like, Bundy and Dahmer and all that. And they're killing people and staging it. They're doing it the same way. So like after they kill the person, they'll use the same method as that original killer, and then they'll stage the scene to look exactly like the crime scenes from those original murders. And Sigourney Weaver plays this like expert in serial killers. Like she does lectures, she wrote a book, she's like this extremely knowledgeable like serial killer profiler. She knows everything there is to know. But what happens is years, I think it was maybe like a year and a half prior, she gets attacked by a serial killer who escapes from prison, played by Harry Connick Jr.
Oh no.
And it leaves her with like severe PTSD where she can't leave the house. She's just like, she has panic attacks. She's stuck at home. So when this other serial killer starts going at, doing his thing, Holly Hunter sort of enlists her to help, but she has to do it from home. So she uses her very sophisticated computer setup. She has like 3 giant CRT monitors, and there's tons of really glorious 90s tech in this, which I loved. No. But you know what? It's like, it's your pretty typical procedural, but I liked it a lot. Like, I had a lot of fun with it. I thought that it was entertaining. Like, I could see how this coming out in 1995 probably didn't really make waves. Like, it probably didn't make a lot of money. It probably wasn't very well received critically. But viewing it now, there's that kind of nostalgia factor, and it just, it's like just a great 90s crime thriller with some really good performances here from everybody involved. So I give it a recommend.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's on Prime Video. It's on Plex. You can see it there. So you can check this out for free.
Another movie that I recommend is called Riddle of Fire from Weston Rizzoli. This is movie.
Yeah, this is on my list. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet, but I'm very interested in this.
Oh my god, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, when this first came out and I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely. It's got a little bit of a Beast of the Southern Wild vibe to it.
But it's also it's silly. It's like the perfect amount of kind of like whimsical, silly, but still kind of serious enough to like work as an action adventure, even though it's with 3 kids that like to ride dirt bikes and they have paintball guns with them. And it starts off with them pulling off a heist to get a video game console, and they get home, but TV is password locked. They can't play the game. So they have to go up to their mother. She's like, I'll give you the password if you get me a blueberry pie. And thus sets off their adventure. This whole movie is just them trying to get a blueberry pie for their sick mother so they can play their video game. That's it. Nothing more. Well, there's a lot more, but
yeah.
That's the gist of it. And the setting is incredible. I can't remember. I think I want to say Wyoming. I can't remember exactly. Wherever it is, it's gorgeous. The way this movie is shot is spectacular. Shot on film. The
Hmm.
kids are perfect. They're great. They're funny. Like it's just like it's an old timey, like throwback action adventure kids movie. Like it's such a good time.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched for this one.
You're gonna love it.
I figured I would. That's Riddle of Fire on Mubi. The final one that I'll mention is Mindhunters from, I think this was like 2002 or 2003 or 4 maybe. I can't. Interestingly, there's no date on
Yeah, it was the Rennie Harlan one.
Letterboxd.
Yeah.
2004 according to IMDb. This is directed by Rennie Harlan. I remember when this movie came out, and I didn't see it back then because I thought it looked like total shit. And it is total shit. But the thing about, again, like it's similar to Copycat. Watching this movie now, it is the most like early 2000s movie ever, and it is glorious. I Rennie Harlan is such a weird director. Like, some of his stuff is okay, but like most of his stuff is so over the top and ridiculous. And this is like a culmination of like all of his stuff. It's about these criminal profilers in the FBI, and they're like part of this special team of like elite profilers, and they go to this island for this training exercise, and all of the sudden they start getting killed, and they need to figure out who's doing it and why. And the way that they get killed is traps. So it's sort of like, I don't know, it's almost like Saw, I guess, in a way, but not really. It's more like kind of Rube Goldberg style traps.
Yeah, dude, this sounds like everything you would
And
want it to be.
and the way the traps are so over the top and ridiculous. I'm gonna give one just quick spoiler. I'm not gonna say who gets killed, but the first trap is it's like in a toy shop, and it's like there's like a series of dominoes that go, and they hit these marbles, and they knock this other stuff over, and that causes this to happen and that to happen. Very Rube Goldberg-esque. And the final thing that happens is there's giant tanks of liquid nitrogen, and it
What?
knocks over,
Why?
and the top pops off, and it sprays this person with liquid nitrogen. But like they don't run out of the way. They just instantly freeze and stand there, and everybody else just stands there watching as this person gets completely frozen with liquid nitrogen and breaks into like a million pieces. It is bonkers. And it's so fun, dude. Oh my god, it is. I loved it. I loved every moment of this. The dialogue is unbelievably cheesy. Like they say some of the most ridiculous stuff in this movie. You have a cast here of Johnny Lee Miller, who has this terrible Southern accent, LL Cool J, Christian Slater, Clifton Collins Jr., Val Kilmer, like in his heyday, really. I can't recommend this movie enough. It is utterly insane. And it's fantastic. Mindhunters.
Oh, what a boy. Wow. Incredible. The last thing that I have is Rachel Lambert. Sometimes I think about dying with Daisy Ridley. She plays Fran. And again, this is a movie that really capitalizes on this location, the Pacific Northwest. It's like a port town right on the water.
Love it.
And oh my goodness, the way this movie's shot, just gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. This is just kind of like a mundane, kind of like day-to-day, just slice of life. Fran, played by Daisy Ridley, is just a very socially awkward person. Just keeps to herself. She doesn't really talk to people much. And just over the course of the movie, she just kind of like slowly opens up to like one of the new hires. and they kind of like get along and they go on dates and stuff, and then she just slowly becomes a more, you know, more interested
Outgoing.
in inner, yeah, not even outgoing, just like slowly getting to the point of like talking to people. Like that's how bad she is. Like she just like she'll finally start chit chatting, and then even the chit chat is still awkward.
Yeah, sounds like
But
me.
yeah, I don't know what it was about this movie, whether it was the way that it's shot, you know, the framing, the blocking, the location, just the pacing of this overall. But just I don't know if it lined up perfectly with the way that I was feeling that day. But I absolutely loved this movie. And this is also on Mubi.
This is also on my list. I just haven't got around to, but definitely want to check this out now.
Yes.
All right, let's see what we have in theaters this week. We got Moana 2 coming out. I feel like that just crept up quick.
I didn't even know this was a thing.
Yeah, Moana 2. There you go. I mean, I liked the first one. I don't know if we necessarily need a sequel, but here we are. We also have Queer. I'm somewhat interested in that. Those are the two biggies. On VOD this week, we got Watchmen Chapter 2. That's the animated one. It looks very bad. Like the animation looks terrible. It's like this bad CG. Slingshot, which is that sci-fi one with Casey Affleck, I believe. Cocaine Werewolf.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That's a bad combo.
that sounds terrible. Dear Santa. As if there's not a million movies called Dear Santa. Heavier Trip, which is the sequel to Heavy Trip.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big fan of Heavy Trip. Like, I thought it was okay, but I might check this one out just out of curiosity. I liked the characters. Very, very likable cast of characters. Katie's Mom looks like a comedy. Letters at Christmas. All's Well in New York. The Effects of Lying. The Binding. And Samson. So there we go. Netflix this week. We got Our Little Secret. Looks like maybe a rom-com. Got Mononoke the movie, The Phantom in the Rain. We got The Snow Sister. And then, let's see. What is this? Amazon has Suspicion coming out this week. This is I believe, a Ugandan film.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Ugandan sci-fi action film.
All right.
Superpowers in there. I might check this out. Like I checked out the trailer. It could really go either way. Like the acting does, like the performances don't look particularly good, and visually it looks kind of not great, but I don't know. Might be worth a look. Let's see what we got on Hulu. Nutcrackers. That's the one with Ben Stiller. Yeah, Blu-ray this week. We got the Tenet coming out from 1976. Corpse Mania from 1981.
You said Corpse Mania.
Yep, Corpse Mania.
Now we're talking. Now we're getting to good movies.
Got Hush from 2016. The Ghost Dance from 1982. That one looks like it could be interesting. Dario Argento's Deep Cut, 1973 to 1988. Let's see what this is. Oh, it's a TV show. It says 1 season, 2 movies, whatever the hell that means. Oh, it's Dario Argento's Door into Darkness, Night Shift, and Dario Argento's Nightmares. Interesting. Might give that a look. Yeah. Murder Party from 2007. Bug is coming out in 4K. Hated that movie. Fear.com from 2002. Hollywood 90028 from 1973. Hunted from 2003. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story from 1993. These are all 4K. Attachment from 2022. The Found Footage Phenomenon. It's a documentary about found footage. Dude Bro Party Massacre 3 from 2016. Bones and All. We got Hatchet, the complete collection, Steelbook. All the Hatchet movies.
All the Hatchets.
Yeah. Night from 1996. We got, let's see, there's a lot of stuff. Give Me an A from 2022.
I'm ready for the holidays. Christmas shopping.
Yeah, it must be it. 2020 Texas Gladiators from 1983. 2020 Texas Gladiators. In a post-apocalyptic Texas, a band of warriors fight against a fascist regime that is trying to take control of the surviving population. Oh, this is an Italian flick.
Dude, it's Joe D'Amato?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this looks amazing. Gotta keep that on my list here.
Watch list.
What about Criterion's? What do we got going on there?
We got two. We got The Shape of Water for some reason.
Yeah,
so that's there.
That's a weird one.
If you want to watch that.
People loved that movie.
Yeah, no judgment. Can like what you like.
I think it was nominated for Best Picture.
That's ridiculous. Then the other one is 1973's Paper Moon, Peter Bogdanovich.
Now, see, that one seems more fitting.
Yes, correct.
Because, like, with Criterion's, you got to think, like, these aren't movies that are just, like, critically acclaimed or anything like that, like award winners. These are movies that, like, help shape cinema. Like, movies that are so influential, like, movies that change the game. And I just think of The Shape of Water as, like, pretty forgettable, honestly. Like,
yeah,
I liked it, and don't get me wrong, I love Del Toro, but I just didn't find anything to be particularly game-changing. Voice crack. Game-changing with that.
I'm with you.
Anywho. All right, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, consider giving us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson, and we'll see you next week.